Good morning, B. How's it going?
Good morning, Mom. It's going great. How you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful, wonderful. I'm excited, ready to see my peeps.
What what you excited?
Are the peeps? Granddaughter is graduating today, y'all. Ain't that her first graduation? I'm so
That's right.
excited. I feel like I'm on a high. So, is
Really?
she excited? Because I know
Yeah,
she
she's
was so
graduating
excited.
from
She was so excited, Brandon. So, I know she still is,
can you hear me?
right? Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, she's excited. Very excited. They almost couldn't go to sleep last night.
Oh,
I'm happy about that.
all right.
It'll be a proud dad moment.
Yeah, I bet. I bet. I saw she said
Proud dad
she
moment. You
asked
gonna be there?
she asked Stella, is it Monday or Wednesday? She asked was the day she was graduating Sunday. She said, is it Monday or Wednesday, Mom? I think she was getting confused like with the last day, the celebration, the last day of school with the graduation. But it was just awesome to see her,
Oh yeah,
put all
yeah.
that
Right.
together
That's right.
and grow. Is it Monday or is it Wednesday? Is what she
Hmm.
asked. So that's growing,
No,
y'all.
she
That's
yeah,
growing. So all
she's
right.
getting so big.
Yeah. So all right,
She's
let's
getting
get
so big. Welcome
Instagram.
everybody to the End of Season podcast. I know when yeah, it's up and should be up and going here soon. I sent the link to you,
Yeah, I got it.
but wanted to say welcome to everybody to the In This Season podcast. This is our 112th, 113th show.
12.
It's easy to lose track. 112. Wow, 112. Thank y'all for rocking with us in our reading through Dennis Kimbro's Daily Motivations for African American Success. I know that when we jump on here, we jump y'all right into the conversation. We want to make sure that y'all feel like family. When you get here, it's like you just walked into a barbecue. It's like you just walked into a cookout. You see people that love each other, that are talking about family, and we get right into the order of the day, which is motivating, which is reading through this book, which is encouraging each other to find the insights through this inspirational book, and then to carry those throughout our day. So thank y'all for rocking with us as I go live here on Instagram. Who we got in the chat room, Mama?
Our same people, Mr. Mike and Brenda. Mike says it's a wonderful time and day to be alive, man. Everyone have a wonderful, blessed day. Mike, I did see where you called me yesterday. I had a busy day, so I didn't get to call you back, but I did call you back last time. So you owed me one. Now I owe you one. All right. Brenda says
Ah,
good everything, everyone. Whoa, good everything. She said thing, but I'm gonna say thing. Oh, Brandon just popped out. Good everything she says. There we go. You all right over there, Brandon?
yeah, I'm trying to make sure. It felt like my stuff was going out over here, but I'm good. But it keeps, when it gets a little cloudy, things start to be
Word,
kind of weird. So
word
but it looks like
perfect.
it's okay. Yeah,
Word perfect.
it looks good to me.
Yeah,
Cool.
y'all. I said that to myself last night. Because I've been burning the fire on both ends again, and so I said last night I'm gonna be so tired in the morning, and I said, oh, "Oops, word perfect. I'm not. I'm gonna be okay." Y'all remember that day, word perfect, about
Mm-hmm.
speaking those things. So yeah, I caught
Mm-hmm.
myself last night because I had just owned being tired this morning, but I was like, "No, I'm not. I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be good, and I'm good."
Good, good. Yeah, the body is weird like that. It's what they call it psychosomatic, where you can kind of produce your own outcomes. Not to say to not be real about, whatever you're going through, but you don't have to speak it more than you feel it. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
when you feel it, let it pass through. To speak it is to almost regurgitate it again. But and that's not with everything. There's nuance to everything. But for the most part, you don't have to relive or project your detriment, right? Your defeat in any kind of, whether it be you tired or whether it be a job or opportunity you're about to get. Speak life into what you're doing, right? So, Mom, what you want to jump right into it? I know we don't
Let's
have
jump
too
right
much
into it.
time. All
Yep,
right,
we're gonna
cool.
keep it short and sweet today.
All right, bet. Sounds great. Sounds great. So if you guys don't have the book, please go and get the book. Please go and get the book. This is Dennis Kimbro's Daily Motivations for African American Success. A little bit about the book, if you don't already know. Daily Motivations for African American Success will help you focus on the thoughts, attitudes, and deeds that will lead to the achievement of your true goals. And 365 short, powerful motivations, one for each day of the year. Dennis Kimbro, author of the popular Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice, leads us to discover how to use the present moment and our own gifts to transcend labels, cultivate a positive attitude, become wise enough to know when to say yes and when to say no, and to look inward for answers to life's challenges. Each motivation begins with words of wisdom from such distinguished and celebrated African Americans as Malcolm X, Marion Wright Elderman, Whoopi Goldberg, Charlene Hunter Galt, Bill Cosby, Carl Rowan, Mother Hale, Reverend Leon Sullivan, and hundreds of others. This treasure trove of practical inspiration will give you fresh encouragement every day of the year. What it teaches will last you a lifetime. So that's a little bit about the book, folks. A little bit about the book. Make sure you get the book. And if there's someone that you know that's been tuning in and doesn't have it, encourage them to get the book. Send them a DM like, girl, homie, did you get this book yet? What do you think of it? Start these conversations. Come back to us. Enter the chat room. Go to the youtube.com in this season podcast page. Like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications so you know exactly when we're going live. Every now and then we pop up at a different time than 7 a.m. I mean, we come in at 7 a.m., but we sometimes make an additional post on special days. We have relationships, a show coming up, and a few other things in store for you guys. So please, please, please make sure if you want to be involved, if you want to grow, if you want to be inspired, that you do what I just said. Like the YouTube page, subscribe, and turn on notifications, and share. So let's jump right into it, Mom. Today is May 22nd. And our title is, drum roll please, Don't Get Too Comfortable. Don't get too comfortable. And our distinguished African American who gives us the quote today is from Edward Lewis, the publisher of Essence Magazine. I'm sure a lot of y'all read Essence Magazine coming up. And Edward Lewis said, "We must define ourselves by the best that is in us, not the worst that has been done to us." We must define ourselves by the best that is in us and not the worst that has been done to us. All right? As you pursue your goals, attempting new and various methods of reaching your objectives, you will experience uncomfortable moments. Count on it. That's part of the process. Anything new, different, or untried lies outside the comfort zone in the land of the uncomfortable. As you approach the edges of your comfort zone, you begin to experience a host of negative emotions: fear, guilt, unworthiness, depression, and possibly anger. These are feelings that usually accompany people who say, "I'm uncomfortable." For many, the explanation, oh, one second. For many, the explanation, "I'm uncomfortable," is sufficient for reason not to venture out. It's little wonder then that these people seldom reach their dreams. They choose comfort over goals. The subtle ways in which the comfort zone keeps you from your dreams are remarkable. The comfort zone reacts with "don't do it" messages long before we begin to take action. The comfort zone reacts with "don't do it" messages long before we begin to take action. When we think about doing something new and different, the comfort zone kicks in. Since birth, we have been programmed to do whatever it takes to avoid fear, guilt, unworthiness, and hurt. Therefore, we think about something else, something more comfortable. To reach your goal, to live out your dream, you must choose moment by moment to take steps in the direction of your dream, no matter how uncomfortable you may feel. Reaching one's goal is not a matter of comfort, it's a matter of achievement. And the affirmation that we read 3 times, one for me, one for you, and one for the person that you're going to invite to the cookout tomorrow, is: the best way out is always through. The best way out is always through. That's a powerful statement, short and sweet.
Mhm.
And for the
Mhm.
third time, the best way out is always through. All right, Mom,
What
what
do
you got
we
for us?
what do we say, Brandon? We are growing through what we're
Exactly.
going through, right?
Yeah.
And if you are growing through it, that means you are going through it. Like it says here that the best way, through anything is just to go through it. So have you gotten too comfortable?
Mm,
Are you too comfortable where you are? Have you accepted where you are, where you think you are, and who you think you are based on going back to the quote, we must define ourselves by the best that is within us. And we talked
mm,
about yesterday looking, well, probably every day, this has been about inward, what's inside of you, not what has happened to you, right? It's not mama nem, daddy nem. Y'all remember them nems, cousin
all them
nems,
names
husband nems. Y'all remember? Like it's not. It's truth be told, Brandon. We haven't said this in a while. It is
about you.
you,
All about you.
all about you. Because why? Life is going to happen to us, to everyone. We're growing through something, going through something that we're growing through, getting ready to go through something that we're going to grow through, or just coming out of going through something that we grew through.
Mm,
And if you look at life that way, hey, it's not about what if you're going to go through something that you will grow through, who are you going to grow through it with? And that's pick your friends wisely, pick the people that you hang out with wisely, but know that you know that you know that there is a God. There is a God who is right there with you. And while you may not understand, y'all know this phrase, while I may not understand, I might not understand, God, where you have me, where you're sending me, where I came from, but I do trust you. But I do trust you. So I'm not going to get too comfortable. Why? Because I know that showing up in my life means God's going to show up in my life and use me. He's going to use me without abusing me, right? Because he's
mm,
going to grow me through the things that he uses for me to help grow his kingdom. How and why? I got to first grow myself. So if I get too comfortable, I'm not going to be willing to grow, right? And so it talks about, the uncomfortable and growing, you guys, you do have to sit in being uncomfortable. You have to understand what that is and not get comfortable there either. Be ready to move. Be ready to grow your mindset. Do you have a fixed mindset or one of growth? Do you already know you know too much, that you know everything, right? And so you're not willing to learn from people to grow, from the people who are like-minded people. So Brandon, I love this one. And it also says, so we must define ourselves by the best that is in us, not the worst that has been done to us. Because if we define it that way, y'all, we will be nothing. Because people are people,
right.
life is life, right? So over to you, Brandon. I'm sure you'll pull out the other good points there, but I don't want to get too long-winded for the sake of time.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I really appreciated that quote. We must define ourselves by the best that's in us, not the worst that has been done to us. Because we could look at that historically, and we could stay in a slave mentality, right? We could stay in a subservient mentality. We could stay in a traumatized mentality. And people can be very comfortable. Let's think about what happened from the stories that I've heard during the times of bondage for African Americans and their ancestors that were forced into slavery and servitude without pay. There were there were those who wanted to escape, and then there were those who thought it better to stay, right? Who thought it better to stay in their captivity, to not to seek freedom, and to not stir the pot, right? Because it was comfortable. They were used to it. It reminds me of a woman in an abusive relationship that decides to stay, over and over and over again, despite her detriment, right? So uncomfortability I mean, and to them, it seems to be for them emotionally, maybe, and potentially physical. They fear that the consequence of them leaving is worse than the normalcy
Mm.
of them staying, right? But if normal doesn't include freedom, then I take the stance of that's no life at all, right? Without self-determination, what life can you really have? And that's why people that don't have their own self-determination always fight for their freedom. In the end, it always comes to a precipice where something has to change, where the pot boils over. But not even on that macro level. Let's go to a micro level. As you approach the edges of your comfort zone, you begin to experience a host of negative emotions: fear, guilt, unworthiness, depression, and possibly anger, it says. And that reminds me, I don't know if you remember, Mom, but when we used to live on military bases, and they would be
Mm.
doing the tests for the jets, and we would hear them
Mhm.
fly.
Mhm.
And you remember, we'd hear these booms, boom, and
Yes.
shake and rattle. And I remember thinking that those, and some of them were, that those were bombs, right? And sometimes they were, but I remember Dad telling me, "No, you know what that is?" I'm like, "What?" That's when the the jets are going so fast that they break the sound barrier.
Mm.
Mach 1. Most people think that's a shaver. Mach 1, Mach 2 by Gillette. Mach 2, Mach 3. That means Mach 1 is 1 times the speed of sound. Mach 2 is 2 times the speed of sound. So as fast as my voice is reaching the phone, right? That it goes, the jet is moving faster than that. And so, like my boy AD over here said, Roderick said, sonic boom. When we hear the term sonic boom, that's when something has broken the sound barrier. And do you know what happens inside of the cabinet of a fighter jet before it breaks the sound barrier? It shakes, it rattles, it becomes very turbulent, right? So before you go through a barrier, before you go through some type of resistance, right? You're going to experience some turbulence. You're going to
Mm.
experience some emotional uncomfortability, but know that you're breaking through barriers when you're doing that. Um, and oftentimes, right before success, that's when people turn around. That's when people turn tail. Right before, they reach their goal, they're inches away from their goal. That's when some people cop out and say, you know what? I've invested too much. I might as well just cut my losses and return back to where I came from, my comfortability, right? But you cannot grow without being uncomfortable. In order for you, and there, like I said, I've said this in other shows, there are physical representations of inner realities, and there are internal representations of physical realities. These things are reflexive. So just like when you're lifting weights, when you're trying to get bigger, do you know you don't actually get bigger while you're lifting weights? You get bigger while you sleep, right? The lifting weights part, that's you breaking your muscles down. That's you ripping your muscles apart. That soreness that you feel, that's your muscle fibers tearing and making little micro tears. Rip, rip, rip all the way down, whether it's bench press or you're doing squats or whatever. The reason that you feel sore is because your body has broken its muscle down in order to perform or to give some type of output for you to lift the weights that you did or to complete the exercises that you did. That's when you've broken your body down. If you went back the next day and did the same exercises just as hard, guess what you would do? Break down your muscles even further. And the next day, break down your muscles even further, right? It's only when you reach that uncomfortable period after the workout of being sore when the process of growth is actually
Mm.
happening. So that's when you're actually building the muscle. Likewise, when I was a kid, Mom, and you've told this story on here before, but for the people that don't know it, I was having issues out of my knees and I didn't know what it was. I was like, why is there this pain? I would always complain about my knees. But when my mother took me to the doctor and the doctor said, those are just growing pains, that means that you're growing. That changed the entire paradigm for me. Now, every time I felt pain, I associated it with my growth. I associated it with something that was a goal of mine, which was to get taller, to get bigger, to be the strongest boy and potential man that I could be. And so when I started to associate that uncomfortability with growth, I could control um, I could control my sentiments throughout that process, making it better for me in that process. So when you're going through something, when it seems like you're investing everything and nothing's coming back, of course, check your methodology. Of course, cross your T's and dot your I's, but have some faith that this uncomfortable place means your growth. If you have a relationship with someone and there's things that haven't been said that need to be said, whether it be a romantic relationship or it be a familial relationship or it be a platonic relationship, if there's something that needs to be said, but it's uncomfortable, but it needs to be said, if it's for their betterment, your betterment, the relationship's betterment, um, and it doesn't spread any corruption, uh, and it's of good intention, then why not lean into that conflict, right? If the butterfly, if the caterpillar didn't want to be uncomfortable in the cocoon, it would never be the butterfly. It would never be. It takes some level of uncomfortability to go to stop eating all these leaves that you've been eating, enjoying the sun, and to become stationary inside of a cocoon, giving yourself, you can be eaten, but you have to sit still in that uncomfortability, wait it out, be patient, and eventually you will come out transformed, right? You will come out transformed. And when it's time to leave the cocoon, you must leave. Don't settle in your uncomfortability. This is not me saying, oh, look for everything that's uncomfortable and be, a masochist, right? You don't want to be a masochist. That's not what we're saying. We're saying that when you are reaching for your goal, expect some turbulence, right? When you're looking to do something that's never been done, whether in your life or in general, expect for people to try to sway you. Expect some resistance. Expect some hurdles. Expect some obstacles. But see those as trials to your future testament, right? It's for your good. Life isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. You're not going through something, you're going through something, right? So make sure that you get there by not stopping, by persevering. And don't get too comfortable, because when you get too comfortable, that means you're not growing. That means you're complacent. That means um, you've settled, right? There's a difference between being content and being complacent. We should look into those two definitions. The difference between being content and being complacent, right? When you're
Right.
content, that means you're satisfied and you're grateful. When you're complacent, that means that there's more potential within you, right? It connotates that something has been left undone, right? And so that to me sounds like comfortability. We all seek comfort. We all seek pleasure. It's part of our nature, right? But we are not to be ruled by it. And we are not to worship our desires. And you don't have to worship your desires by sitting there and praying and bowing to it or anything like that, but just letting it control um, your outcomes, right? Especially when it works against your greater goals. So think about your long-term goals. Set a plan to go and achieve those goals, and by any means necessary, do not quit. Because oftentimes the successful aren't the most talented. The successful aren't the ones who had the most money and the most resources. The ones that are the most successful are the ones who are the most determined and the ones who persevere the most through those uncomfortable situations to reach some greater status, some greater glory, or some greater success. So that's all I have for you. Don't wade in your own comfortability. Get uncomfortable. Get out of your water. Take a fresh step onto new territory. And trust me and believe you will grow from it. And that's all I have.
So, Brandon, I'm going to end with this, the second paragraph. As you approach the edges of your comfort zone, you begin to experience a
Mm-hmm.
host of negative emotions, you guys. So be aware of this, expect this so that you'll know what to do. A host of negative emotions, fear, guilt, depression, and possibly anger. These are the feelings that usually accompany people who say, I'm uncomfortable, right? So be mindful of that. Expect that because it tells us here you can count on it. It's coming. And when you choose to remain comfortable, you're saying no to your goals, right? So why have them if you're not? It's like Brandon, what you were explaining about working out. When you work out, especially if you're just starting to, right? You are sore as crap to the point you be like, I'm not going to do this anymore. But to get what you want, you have to keep doing it. You have to. So you have to show up. This could be a great assignment for today. If you've been journaling, ponder, what am I comfortable in and with? Who am I comfortable with that I don't know that we need to have that uncomfortable conversation, right?
Right.
Because between what is said but not meant and what is meant but not said, relationships are lost. So that's all I have. I'm going to check our comments really quick here. Um, going through it to get to it. Going through it to get to it. Miss Brenda Davis says that. All right. So going through it to get to it. I like that. Miss Brenda's dropping them nuggets, y'all. Hey, daily motivations for African American success, waking all of us up. So that's all I have, Brandon. Thank you guys. Do the work. Do the work. Don't get too comfortable coming here and just listening.
Right.
Hey, go apply it. Because it's easy to say, hey, I showed up. That's all I need to do. No,
Nope.
apply what you are getting up for. Don't let it be
Exactly.
in vain.
Show up and then go out and show it again. Show up and show out. Show
Yep.
yourself that you can that you can make a better impression on the innermost fiber of your being, as
Yep.
Dennis Kimbro would say. Make a better impression upon yourself. Hold yourself accountable. Impress yourself. I do little things like I'll reward myself and then I'll punish myself for certain things that I have or have not done. Because I have a sometimes I get too comfortable and there's things that need to be done, like renewing my tags or something like that. And I'm like, whatever, man. Cops ain't gonna mess with me. They ain't gonna pull me over. And if they do, I've taken care of that. But don't get too comfortable because it's always okay until when, mom?
Until it's not.
Till it's not, right? So
Man,
I
man.
thought about that and made sure I took care of things because it's too comfortable not to, right? Who wants to go and
Right.
spend a couple $100 for a tag? It's stupid, right? But who wants to go spend a couple $1,000, on insurances and court and all these other things? So it's always okay until it's not, and then we'll still have to go back and to do it again. So don't get too comfortable. Do what you need to do and follow through, even if it isn't comfortable for you. Don't seek pleasure so much to where you abandon your goals, you abandon yourself, your self-respect, and your self-control, and go practice what you're reading and what you're coming here and getting every day. So we're going to end this show the same way that we do every single day, by reading the title, the quote, and the affirmation 3 times. One for me, one for you, and one for the person that you're going to send the YouTube to, right? Don't get too comfortable is the title of today. And Edward Lewis, the publisher of Essence magazine, gave us our quote and said, we must define ourselves by the best that is in us, not the worst that has been done to us. And the affirmation, 3 times, remember, is the best way out is always through. The best way out is always through. And last time, the best way out
It's
is
always.
always through. Thank y'all so much for rocking with us on this 112th day of the In the Season podcast. Go out there, be great, but don't be too comfortable. Take care, y'all. Peace.